Yes, well now he was a sort of relation. His mother was a rich American, one of the three rich Miss Langhorns of the southern states. And so he was rather related to Lady Astor here. It was all very posh. He was a very handsome man, wonderful for all the period parts, you know.
After the critical success of Little Dorrit, Joan received an invitation to become the leading lady in The Road to London, opposite Bryant Washburn, who had his own production company.
When Little Dorrit had been so successful and Bryant Washburn came to see you and came to dinner with your father,
Yeah.
you were, or your father was then offered on your behalf a contract in America. What happened next?
Mother and I, we were living up at the Grosvenor Hotel at that time while we were working. My father came back and said, oh, they've offered a 5-year contract, so we waited. So Mother said, well, so I said, turn them down, of course.
Was there any room for discussion with your father after he'd made the decision? Could you talk it over with him later?
No, I wasn't asked, my mother was. If only, I mean, he could have said, give it a stay, consult me, or make understanding, of course, his wife and child going to live in Hollywood for a year, 5 solid years, you know, but he could have negotiated it, he could have stipulated, provide, I do one film in England, or, you know, month's holiday and those sort of things, but he just was absolutely...
What, did he explain the reasons why he turned it down?
Well, I mean, had a lot of reasons from his point of view, but none from mine.
Joan continued to make films for Progress, including A Lowland Cinderella, made in the Glasshouse studio at Shoreham in the summer of 1921, and released at the end of that year. The film is a modern-day version of Cinderella, with exterior scenes, supposedly Scotland, filmed on the Sussex Downs. In the Rags to Riches story, Joan's ball gown was enhanced by ostrich feathers, brought back from a visit to South Africa.
It must have been so exciting for someone of that age to see so much of the world at such a young age.
Yes, the whole thing. And then, of course, living in Johannesburg at the Carlton for 5 months, and we drove all over South Africa, sight hunting, you know, go 1,000 miles for a particular view. It was on that sort of scale. That was Rider Haggard's Swallow, and she was called, the natives called her Swallow, because she was swift on a horse. That was one thing. When the part turned up in London, they said it must be a girl who can ride, and I could ride. I could ride in Richmond Park. I could, which was rather different to riding in South Africa.
Joan's last Shoreham films were made in 1922, but she continued to act until 1931. After that, she built herself another career as a writer.
I've done 15 books, which I loved, because you were just doing what you wanted to alone. You weren't dependent upon anybody else's success or failure. So that was absolutely wonderful.
Joan obviously has fond memories of Shoreham, but will always regret the missed opportunity of a 5-year Hollywood contract and the vagaries of the British film industry in the 1920s.
You never came back. None of us came back. My generation really quite disappeared. The industry is awfully ruthless. I mean, lovely Lilian Hall Davis, who, I mean, you may know, I mean, it came to an end for her and she killed herself. That was an extreme case. She was a lovely person, but she just couldn't take it. But I was pretty, and also I think I was very quiet. I think it was a type of personality. I mean, I think I was a very natural actress, but I was, facial expression was very good. I was a good actress, I suppose, in a quiet way. In fact, a lovely man who did an article on me in the Sunday Times, he said I was the Lilian Gish of England, which really pleased me.